Anti-Afro Svengalis. I've been hearing mentions of body bags. This is the information that's floating around. I have something I want to add to that. But I want you to check this out first. Stay tuned and I will return. FX. This movie was astounding. This is the original FX. I'm not talking about number two. But here's the message. How successful do you think you're going to be trying to beat somebody at their own game? What is that game, so to speak? Self preservation with the lowest amount of risk possible. That's why you have this unzipped body bag and this expert here surviving while all these people try to beat him in his own game. You got to check out this movie. But let me give you one more treat.
Keep him talking long enough for me to trace what line.
Line 2. Tyler, this is Lipton. No, Mason isn't here. It's just that I don't... Yeah, listen, would you hold for a second? Yeah.
He's in the building, for Christ's sakes. He's calling from a payphone in the lobby of this goddamn building.
Where the hell are you, Tyler?
Remember why you hired me, Lipton? For my particular genius.
Good luck trying to beat folks at their own game. Now, let's move on to very much relevant main topic. I want to ask you a question. The question relates to the commentary. So it's important for me to ask. Can you think of a time in your adult life, not when you were a juvenile, where you did something that you know you should not have done and you did it anyway? It can range from something that's minor or it can go all the way up to something that's critically illegal, seriously illegal. You can get into a ton of trouble or you can get in no trouble. The range. So if you think about whatever it was that you did, whatever you're going to pick, would you have participated in that act if you thought there would be consequences? Did you partake in that activity, whatever it was, from the very minor to the most serious and everything in between, knowing that nothing would come of it? How confident did you feel that engaging in the activity would not result in any consequences? Or in your mind, did you think it wasn't a big deal? Did you think you had a right to do it? Do you think that, hey, no one will find out? And what was your response in instances where that behavior became known? Again, from the very minor to the most severe and extreme, and everything in between. The point I'm trying to make here is defrauding Stalkertons never thought in a million years that his conduct on YouTube would ever be raised in any other form off YouTube. Just like what I just described. And obviously it would depend on the severity of the acts that you engaged in or act would determine your level of anxiety once the act was discovered. So with this defrauding Stalkertons, His is on the extreme end of the situation. Never thought in a million years that command in the military would find out that he'd been harassing Rev G for 2 years. But now what he's doing, he's making the rounds. He's whining and crying over on other platforms. He went over to the Smokes channel tattling, but there's one problem. When he went over there, he left out 1 year and 10 months of activities. He just simply went to what he claims was a conclusion. But here we're going to talk about, I'm going to show you how much of a liar defrauding Stalkertons is. Defrauding Stalkertons, I'm showing you as I'm putting it on the screen. First and foremost, was chasing around Gerald Palmer like a lost puppy dog. A little puppy that was lost and just needed to find somebody to pull him around and take care of him. Look at this message here on the screen. It's in response to just a standard message Gerald left under a video related to a live stream that Taz did. And actually, it was a rewind. Whenever you go live, I'll be listening. Does this sound like Rev G running after defrauding Stalkertons? Or does it sound like defrauding Stalkertons is a lost puppy? But the significance of this message is when it was left. Look at this message here. This is after defrauding Stalkertons was implying that Rev G was lying about what was happening to him when he was being criminally harassed. Him, along with his place of employment, to the point law enforcement had to intervene and stop the behavior. Stop the criminal conduct. But defrauding Stalkertons was saying he stopped dealing with Rev G and called question into his allegations. But look, after defrauding Stalkertons claimed he wasn't dealing with Rev G, here this message appears at the time. This is in February 2021, after defrauding Stalkerton says he cut Rev G off. It says, whenever you go live, I'll be listening. What in the world? Listen, Rev G simply left a message, a standard message under this video. Taz rewinding a live stream. And here is defrauding Stalkertons. Really? He's running around here lying, hopping on these panels and telling lies through his teeth that he was separate and apart. But there's more. Look at this. This comes from, he actually gives Rev G his Instagram address. But here's another message. I'm sorry for all you're going through with this nonsense. Would you be able to send me a copy of the federal court case under Umar and blank? If not, could you lead me to where to find it? I would like to send it to my lawyer to see her reaction and get her opinion on his situation. Oh, and my Instagram is, and there's the Instagram. As an FYI, the lawsuit that's being referenced was filed end of March 2021, and defrauding Stalkertons is saying he wasn't dealing with Rev G in January 2021. Liar. Does this sound like someone who cut off Rev G? Or does this sound like a puppy dog following Rev G around, offering information, offering sympathy? But he said he cut Rev G off and never believed his allegations of criminal harassment, which occurred earlier in January. He said he didn't believe it. And there's more. Look at this one. One other thing. Do you know Anti-Afro Svengalis' email? I have some information for her. I shared it with blank, though he never got back to me. I think Umar may have plagiarized a study from Dr. Joy DeGruy. I have proof. What? This is Someone who said, what? Did he stop dealing with Rev G? Oh my God, people. You see what a liar defrauding Stalker Tens is. And I want to point out something else. This was very specifically about Rev G reporting this harassment that had gone on for 2 years. This is not what he told the smoke. He completely left off the fact that he was the aggressor. This was an isolated type situation. But defrauding Stalkertons is running around adding all this other stuff in that had nothing to do with Rev G's complaint, which is straightforward, that he was being harassed for 2 years on and off YouTube. This freak was up here leaving messages where Rev G worships, religious worshiping. He thought he had a right to go and harass Rev G off YouTube, contacting people that have nothing to do with YouTube in Rev G's personal life. You don't think somebody like this has a very serious ass problem and needed to be called in by his military command, which he did. And here is why you know he is a liar. He keeps adding all this stuff in about mom being stalked. Nobody gives a damn about the female who unfortunately brought you into this world. The only concern that we would ever have is for how his mother must be suffering knowing what she brought into this world. Aside from that, we don't give a damn about this dude's mother. Rev G don't care about this dude's mother. Never mention the mother's name. It's added on because he knows he was wrong and doesn't want to admit it. Never thought in a million years he would ever be discovered. Never thought in a million years that Rev G would file this complaint. And guess what happened when the complaint was filed? The same thing that happened with the other person who criminally harassed Rev G. They were ordered to stop or there will be serious legal consequences. And that is the reason why we continue to report off YouTube. Whoever needs to intervene needs to intervene. We're not relying on anybody here in these YouTube streets to handle any business. If people need to be stopped from engaging in illegal conduct, it's going to have to occur by a ruling body off YouTube. Now, of course, we can appeal to YouTube if people are misusing our content or violating community guidelines, but for people to stand up and say, okay, hold up, I don't want no parts of this, you got to go offline, and we're willing to do that. No one is going to shame us. The reason why defrauding Stalkertons is so upset is because he thought he was safe. Go back to the beginning of the video. Not in a million years did he ever think he would be called to the carpet for this conduct which violates the Uniform Code of Military Justice. It violates the oath that he took as an enlisted person in the U.S. military. No one is afraid of this coward making up all these stories and proving to be a liar. And we can say your name anytime we want to say your name. And there's a reason why Rev G isn't speaking on this, because Rev G is gearing up to take it to the next level. Now, right now, this freak continues to just cry and whine and grovel and try to play victim. But you know, one damn thing he hasn't dare done is to resume his harassment. So Rev G is going to give him some more time. You getting so desperate? Are you going to cross the line again? Go ahead and cross the line, because listen, had he been told nothing was illegal, that he was well within his rights to do what he did for a 2-year period, he would continue to do it right now. Bottom line is he stopped because his ass was told you better stop. And it's a damn shame you have to go to somebody's military command to order them to stop harassing you when he's supposed to be a grown-ass man and should never done anything like this to begin with. So now he's acting like the child that he is. He shouldn't be in the military. He runs around with someone who was dishonorably discharged from the military, who prides himself on being a mail order bride beatdowner, threatening violence, speaking about children in inappropriate sexual terms, threatening to throw children out windows and women out windows. This is who defrauding Stalkertons runs around with. It is no surprise that he engaged in these behaviors, but he was clean cold busted, told to stop, or there will be serious consequences. And what did he do? He came on the internet and started making up all this other shit that has nothing to do with the complaint that Rev G filed, and he is a liar. Rev G was under no investigation, was never spoken to by anybody, the FBI or no one. You wouldn't be in trouble for something you didn't do. Defrauding Stalkertons is just pissed because the people he was working with thought he had halfway sense, and now they know what in the world? Who in the world are we working with around here? He shouldn't even be in the military. He violated the oath and needs to be booted out of there. Well, I can guarantee you he'll probably get his ass passed over and won't be allowed to re-enlist. So before you listen to defrauding Stalkertons, I mean, you can do whatever the hell you want. Go ahead and trust what this stalker creep has to say. Go ahead and trust him with your business. Go ahead and engage him behind the scenes. He's looking for a way to perpetrate his evil, dastardly deeds and is spiraling because he doesn't know what to do because Rev G defended himself and he was ordered to stop. This is one thing you got to keep in mind. Let me see your handcuffs try so hard to push this bullshit scenario. The overwhelming majority of those in and around the Umar Johnson sector, no matter how we feel about them, let's say, are not even rocking with them. The vast majority of them do not issue unprovoked threats of violence, nor do they engage in criminal harassment. Someone just talking smack, they're just talking smack. That's not the issue. Let me see your handcuffs try to lie and say, Svengalis is calling shots because we've been unclear with her. Well, I guess when it comes down to the nitty gritty, you can say, I don't agree with let me see your handcuffs or anyone standing in their place of employment, let me see your handcuffs specifically in a classroom, going live and harassing me. That's against school policy. I don't agree with let me see your handcuffs going to school, standing in a classroom, and violating my privacy. She was disciplined. She was dinged by Buy Me a Coffee. She was dinged by YouTube, and her job got her. She did what she did, and it was wrong. Not just because somebody disagrees. She tried to steal Anti-Fraud Warriors, LLC. She stole money from us. She ran these platforms where she allowed people to be accused, specifically Rev G, of being a child molester. This is what a teacher is allowed to do, and that's legal and sanctioned and non-actionable, and sexually harassed Rev G's wife and allowed a teacher facilitating a 2 hour plus live stream. You want to sit here and tell me that's a matter of somebody disagreeing? So going back to what's happening here, it's not about disagreeing with defrauding charlatans. He engaged in conduct that's unbecoming, that's illegal, and he was given a direct order to cease. And we look for the same outcome for those selected subjects who engage in the same conduct. It is not inclusive of the vast majority of those in and around the Umar Johnson sector. We are going to handle this by getting the conduct ceased. That's the goal. We don't care whether or not somebody agrees, likes it, applauds it, wants us to stop. That's not relevant. People can have their own opinion about it. We're not going to allow it to be perpetrated upon us. Now, if somebody else decides you can just treat me like shit, which we see that all around, that is their decision. We don't have to go along with that. As a matter of fact, that's when these subjects and this extortionist got even more angry because he tried to reel us in to that culture. Go to a live stream while you sit there and people verbally abuse you, attack your friends, and you just hang out there. Oh, I'm having a great time. Isn't this fun? No, you're not pulling us along into that. Disagreements are different from harassing people and their families and slandering people. That is not disagreement, and we don't have to participate in that, and we're not going to participate in it. And whatever anybody wants to say about it, fine. But the one thing that will not happen, you're not going to break the law, violate our rights, threaten us with violence, threaten our families, and we're going to sit here and say it's business as usual. No, we're going to file complaints. So if you don't want complaints filed against you, stop breaking the law and thinking people should have to tolerate it. If you want to tolerate it, that's your business, but you can't impose that upon us. So before you listen to defrauding stalkertons, I mean, you can do whatever the hell you want. Go ahead and trust what this creep, this stalker creep has to say. Go ahead and trust him with your business. Go ahead and engage him behind the scenes. He's looking for a way to perpetrate his evil, dastardly deeds and is spiraling because he doesn't know what to do because Rev G defended himself and he was ordered to stop. Folks, you know I have much more coming your way. In the meantime, you know the drill. Buyer beware.